Right, let's make a start with this page, the chat sales page. As always, I'll skip through and fast forward some bits so you don't have to watch me doing some of the mundane things. I've got all my images in the media library already. I've got a text file with lots of text and things in it and my colors. You'll see me pulling them across. So I'm just going to make a start. I'm going to go to create new page. I'm going to choose a blank page as I do at the bottom here. I want the full width style for this one. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to call it chat new. And create the page. And what I'll do from here, I'll just automatically publish this, save and close, and then I'll go and open that page and then start working on it. So let's view that. Now here's the page I'll be building. So I'm going to build this first top section here completely. I'll be working on that. I'm going to put in some background images and stuff first and change all the typography. So putting all my settings in for the font types that we're using throughout this template, and then I'll add in some scripts if I remember in that correct order, but that's pretty much the start. So here's the blank template. I'm going to open up the live editor and I'm going to go through and do the typography first, and I'll skip through this as well and fast forward it. I think we're using the Lato font in most of this anyway, and we also have the background image to upload, which I'll do that afterwards. So that's all of our fonts in. I'm going to go to the page settings, so color scheme, overall page color options. I'm going to put in the background image. So we can see that image is repeating like that, so a bit of CSS hopefully will change that around. So I'm going to go into other scripts. I'm going to paste in some custom CSS and some footer CSS as well, some footer scripts, sorry. So this is all related to the navigation bar. The code will be available so you can get the code. So we've got some CSS at the top, different styling, and then we've got some scrolling nav banner stuff here. Which will make sense when I get to that in a bit, doing a little scrolling nav. Okay, so I've done my typography, got my background image, done the navigation. You can see there, look, now the image has gone right out. Let's do save and close here. We'll refresh this. Background image is been stretched. We've got our logo in the top, and we're now ready to crack on. So I'm going to work on this sort of top section. I'm going to build something similar. I'm going to put a header in with some font and some spacing and stuff. So to start with, let me just... Now I'm having a little issue opening up that row, and I think it's because of the script that I've put in here. So I'm going to get rid of that. It's the footer script for the scrolling nav. I think that's messing with my... You see it's pulled the logo in. Let's just save and close, refresh. I'm going to open up the editor again. And we should be able to add a row in here. Okay, if it's not that, it's going to be my CSS that I've got. It's going to cut that out, update that. I'll save and close and then refresh the page. Yeah, possibly my CSS causing this. Let's have a look. There we go. My CSS is pushing that row up, so I've just not added the CSS yet. I want to get one row in at least, just so I can start working. And then I'll carry on. So I'm going to go back and put the CSS back in. I wondered that because I'd nipped it up too high, flush at the top. So that's that CSS going back in there, and then I've got my footer script to go back in, which I'll grab. I actually grab that last because it pulls in the scrolling nav throughout. So let's try again. At least you get to see that some things, when you're doing them live, you learn, little things that happen, little tweaks and errors. Right, let's go. So this row, I'm now adding this row again. What I'll do is add in all my stuff here and my content in this second row, and then I'll probably come back and delete this row if I need to, or my CSS might take it up and give it enough bit of spacing. So we'll just leave it for now. But I'm going to go and start adding all my text, my copy, headlines, everything into this section. Okay, so there you have it. There's our top section made. That's the first part. Save and continue. Jump to the page. We're now going to start working on this sort of section. So we've got heading, we've got text on the left, and we've got image over on the right. So that's the next block I'm going to be working on and trying to get a similar sort of, or mix this up a bit, do something similar along these lines. So let's crack on with the next section. I'll add another row. Probably what I'll do is I'll actually add a couple of rows at the bottom, just it gives me enough space to scroll so that you guys can see what I'm working on when I want to scroll down. So let's just flick this over into full screen again, actually. Okay, so I'm going to go down. I'm going to be working on this row here in the middle. So I'm going to just set the background color. Okay, so I started building this. As you'll know, I'm going to clone these now to make the 2, 3 we've got showcase feature 1, 2 and 3, so all I do is simply just clone this element, twice down, so I get the look that I want there at the other 2 features below. So I'll just go and clone them down. Okay, for this top row above, I'm going to add a bit of padding. I want to have some space at the top and no space at the bottom, so that this joins and sits flush with this row. I've just adjusted the padding in there, so I put 50 padding towards the bottom and left the top one. So let's save and close, see how it looks. Okay, so there you have it. We've got that whole top section. You can see I've got to put a big bit of space at the top there to push that header right down, so we can see some of that image as well, and a bit more spacing in that top row. But that's that first section. We can then move on to our next. Let's just jump to the page we're making. You can see they do this. They've got an image, then text, and they've got text, then image, and it goes down like that. So we're going to build something similar to this section now. Probably what I'll do is I'll come back and do all the spacing adjustments in this section here. I'll do that later or towards the end. And it would just be padding, putting padding on the around the rows. Actually, I'm going to put it in now because I've also got some CSS called Hero here that's been created in the CSS that I've done. So let's put 100 and then 200 at the bottom. Save and close that. We'll just see how that looks any better. My CSS that I've got coded the Hero CSS is working with that top section. It's like the Hero section. So you can see there, by adding that padding and that CSS, I've created just more space, so it looks much tidier. This nav actually is fixing on scroll, and it'll then appear white bar appears in navigation as I scroll down. So I'll show you that once we put the other script in. Let's go back and carry on building that next section. Okay, so then there's these two sections built. Let's refresh the page. You see, you'd notice that I cloned the page down and dragged the elements around. It saves me trying to build the whole thing again. So I've cloned that down, and we get that. We've got that image on the left, text on the right, and then we switched it over. Text left, image on the right. So I'm going to carry on building now down to, let's go down this large coloured section here. So I'm going to build a coloured section similar to this. I haven't included 3, we've done 2 of them. We've got the grey line. Notice I put the grey line in the row as well, and that's showing on ours. So let's jump back. You can see that grey row. It's just row. It's the one padding pixel colour. So now let's start the coloured section. Okay, so that's that section done. Let's refresh that. You notice I cloned down the overlay optimizer button from the top. So here we've got that product demo section. You see the link down the bottom here, and you can click on it, it opens up the video content. So that's that section built. I'm going to add some more, add a couple of rows on there, or one row at the bottom, so you can see what I'm doing. It looks like I have got a row there, but it probably needs a bit of spacing in it, just so I can scroll up higher when I can show you sort of what I'm doing. So that's why I'm putting in the spacer. It's not, if I set it 100, it's nothing to do with the design, just so when I scroll down and show you where I am working, it comes up to the center of the screen. So that's the overlay. So there's our color section done, and you'll see here they have this line across here, and then this little like a quote there or mark from the Slack, and then text blocks. Just going to build that again, another row. So what I'm doing here is I'm adding a little box, trying to get this similar effect that they've got here, a little box, image on the side, text on the right. So that's what I'm creating here. So I'm adding image, so I've added the featured box and then image with text aside. Right, let's see how that looks. And there you can see I've got my line underneath, I've got this overlay optimizer there as well. So I've got my line and I've got my little text block and my box design there at the bottom. So moving on, we're going into the next section here. Let's see, so we've got our sections away at the top here. So for this next section, we're doing text on the left, image on the right. So what I'll do is I'm going to clone down this from here, one of these rows, the benefits one, clone that down and change the background image up. And then we have this sort of button section. I'm going to try and build something similar to that with a featured box border and a button in it. So let's carry on building. Let's get cloning. I'm going to clone down that row at the top there. What I'll do is I'll copy this, and then I'll clone. I can clone or copy, either I clone it down, clone, drag it down, copy, or I paste it down. Either way, I'll clone this and I'll drag it down, and from here I'll just start styling it. Okay, so there we have the row. I've just done the styling. I've put this bottom class in, and I've changed this background image as well and reduced some of the spacings. We've got our image over on the right. I've switched the image around, and then we've got text again on the left hand side. Now into the next section. So we're doing this button area, or this sort of bordered button section. Okay, so you'll see what I've done now. I cloned that featured box from above. I've cloned that down just so I could start editing that. Let's go back down there, just put my browser up. Clone that featured box, and then what we're going to do is I'm just going to delete this element and put in the two column text element in there. So let's get my text. I've got a headline going in and I've got two column text. So I'll put in the text first, as I've just already got there. And then I'll drop in my headline. Underneath that I'm going to put in a button, so I'm going to put in a spacer. Okay, let's save and close. We should have that bottom section done now. Let's let that reload. Okay, there's that bottom section looking nice. You could obviously reduce the width of that featured box and make it sit a bit more like Slacks, where it's in the center there, and then you could put a text line underneath if you wanted to. By all means, we haven't done that. Last thing I'm going to do is just throw in, if you look, if I just minimize the browser or bring the browser up here and scroll, you should be able to see we've got a Slack logo down the bottom left here, and then we've got the social icons on the right hand side. So I'm going to just build something like that into this, and it'll just be a case of putting like a 5-row column and just putting a logo on the left and right. So if I add another row in here, okay, so refresh, and we should see now. If we scroll right to the bottom, you can see we've got that social icons on the right, and we've got our logo on the left there. social icons are just added through the text block. You can then link them up individually to link out to your social media accounts. And last thing I'm going to do, so it's pretty much there, the page. I'm just going to put in that script that I had before for the navigation bar, which is page settings, other scripts, and it went in the footer. It's that script. And what this does is makes the page, the navigation bar go white when we scroll down. So you can see at the moment there's nothing there, but there you go, look, it's white. So if I go up the top, here's that navigation bar, and if I then go into scrolling, you can see it drops, and we've got the white. So the navigation bar, it stands out above the content on the page when you're scrolling. So that's really what that does. That is really it. We've built that page. You can see we have another page in this series. We've now got another pricing page we're going to build as well. But that's it. Look, that's basically the page. If we go up to the top, and we've got all of our spacing in, background images, and buttons. Overall, it's a beautiful page. It's nice and clean, lots of white space. Slack, they use some great images on their page as well, and we've tried to bring that across here. But a very clean layout, a beautiful layout, lots of white space. I'll get them side by side. If you had a menu, a right-hand menu showing here, and when you scroll down, all the links, the right-hand side would be here. Let's just see if I can throw one in as an example. So I'm talking about the links. So if you're using the standard OptimizePress menu function, those links will appear on the right here. So we go to header nav. I will have, let's try the home. I don't know what the home one is, so we'll just click home so it does. Okay, let's save and close. And then reload or refresh the page. And there you have it. So if at the top here, you can see we've got our links that are coming in from our page. This is a custom navigation I've probably built here for this template or for testing another site. But that's just pulled in as you would normally pull in. And if I scroll down, you can see then the links come into play. You can see them more. If I go back up, there you have it. So there's a menu built, a page built, including the links at the top. Let's put these two pages side by side if I can here, just to show you them. I'll get them as close as I can within the sort of browser size that I've got, and I'll sort of scroll down together with them. So you can see on the Slack side, their page on the left hand side, and if we scroll, you can see that the menu, got a nice little pop-in style menu there, it drops in. But you can see we've built our top section, our hero section. We've got background image, we've got the button here, we're using the overlay optimizer on our site on the right. Click on that, opens up the video. On Slacks as well, they've got a pop-up. Actually, it's a different kind of pop-up. It takes control of that whole top hero section. Beautifully done how they've done that. So it takes over that whole header section using the Wistia player there, you can see. So let's close that down. Let's go on to the next section. Going down, you can see we've got our section similar to theirs. That little graphic that we made accompanying their side. So they've got their titles, that grey font, that font colour used. They've got their titles and they've got the text underneath. And then scrolling down into the next section, theirs goes on the left. So you can actually see what's happened here is because it's changing responsive with the design. If I just widen it a bit there, and then you've got ours over on the right. It's just scroll. You can see we've got that section we've built. We've got the grey line as well. Then we switch over. We've got text on the left-hand side, images on the right-hand side. They included another little section. You could easily do that as well with our template. You could clone down the row. Then we go into this colours section, beautiful colours that they use on Slack, nice and bold colours. Notice they all match in their logo as well. They probably use these colours throughout their branding. And then we've done this sort of product section, and then we go into that little underneath. We made that row. You could reduce the white space on this row, or the spacing, sorry, just to nip it up a bit more and make it more flush with that link above. We included the link here underneath, another live demo link to open up the video, the overlay optimizer. And then we go into another benefits section, and then we've got that button section underneath. like I said before, you could reduce the width of this featured box and get the same sort of style how Slack have done it. In a way, they're highlighting that call to action. If you look at this page, the focal point of your eye comes down, you're reading this. If you don't see the data, you go into this section. This becomes the focal point. It's not full width, it's not highlighted color, it's just bordered with this box around it. But it catches the eye, and the text is obviously sitting central as well, and it's not like a full width of the text. Very nicely done. So we've sort of done that. We've kept the same colors that they've used. We used a 2 text block. If you were reducing the size of our featured blocks, you would probably remove the 2 column text element and maybe just have 1 single element text in there. And we've got our logos down the bottom, similar to how they've done it. So a beautiful page from Slack there. We're privileged to be able to go ahead and create a teardown for this. This is good fun. Now you can see the pricing teardown that we've done, which matches our pricing page. So we've got 2 templates in this series. Go and watch that and have fun with this if you're going to start building this template. Thanks obviously for watching this entire teardown all the way through, and we've got the next teardown with the pricing page, so go and watch that and you can build yourself a beautiful little site here using these templates and clone them onto other pages.